Sweet. What's up? Good times. All right. Hello, everyone. Good seeing your shiny faces. Gerardo, Hare, Paul Tranny. Oh, wait, that's me. I'm reading the chat.
Nice.
We have Andrew, a.k.a. Superstar, a.k.a. AE. It's in his initials, After Effects.
True story.
Andrew Embury. Embury.com, which is where I set my homepage. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
All about it. Hello from Colombia, my favorite country. I'm not gonna lie. I've been to Colombia so many times. I freaking love Colombia. And everybody's like, "Why are you going down to Colombia?"
JC.
It's like, don't make it weird.
We got
like
Joe
Colombia.
again, Crisp again,
Germany in the
Benja
house, Workbench in the house.
Mariam. Hey, Mike's here. Cass.
Good to see you guys. Brazil is in the house. Let's try to hit all the continents if we can. Wondering if anybody's here from Europe.
Yeah, Millie.
You might recognize some names from.
Yep.
Where's Simon at?
I think Simon may be in the UK. Maybe.
Simon,
I know
where
Millie's in
do you
Norwich.
live, Simon?
There's James
Austria.
in the UK. Pedro, he's in Brazil.
Oh yeah, let's get rid of. Are some of these yours? We're gonna
Roland.
play some drinking games. There we go. Let's clean this up.
Patrick, representing Canada.
Put this down here.
Thomas.
Add a little splash of color.
Nice.
That may or may not be a cocktail.
That'd be awesome.
All right. Yes, we're just broadcasting from beautiful San Francisco here, right? A beautiful day. Actually, obviously, it's actually kind of foggy.
I love it. Like that's
It's
like
actually-
it's like it's nice. Like that's like the temperature. That's like you can just put a sweater on and chill out. I love it.
Yeah,
That's like my
it
favorite.
is pretty.
It's blanket weather.
Kinda, yeah, it's like the cities that were wrapped in a nice little blanket, basically. So.
I'm good, Thomas. Thanks.
Playa del Carmen, awesome.
I'm good.
Wow, good to have you guys here. As far away as Nepal,
Wow,
is that
Mariam's from
true?
Kuwait.
Sagar, you're from Nepal, Kuwait. Yes.
That's awesome.
We used to get Mars,
Oh, wow.
some random places like or Antarctica, and I never know if they're okay. There we go. Sorry, I started that. Apparently
Narnia, there you go.
Narnia now.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Andromeda Galaxy. Israel.
Thailand. Well, cool. As far away as Thailand. I wonder what time it is in Thailand. We welcome you guys. It's 1 p.m. here, PST. Andrew's last day. We're gonna get a little choked up after a while.
Just a little bit.
Fantastic guy, and good guy to hang out with, and who also knows everyone, by the way.
That's true. I try to talk to everyone at least once.
Yes, he knows.
Maybe touch hands. Osmosis.
Such a connector. Yeah, that's weird.
He smells like pine.
That's weird. Do I really? I smell like
Delicious pine.
pine and leather. Pine.
Ooh, it's Mike.
It's my Colorado coming out. But I dig it. So Andrew's going to do some animating like his elbow shows with his keyframe and timeline. But we're going to dive into that. And it's just fun watching you work, man. You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
it's going to be a ton of work today.
yeah.
It's going to kind of bust through the keyframes, bust through, I guess, everything. And actually, that reminds me, I see if I can actually download this really quick.
Yeah, you should.
Let's
go to 2. Let's go to mine just for fun. Or maybe 3,
me.
sorry. Either way. Oh, you have some stuff? Oh, show that. You were good. You were good.
Hey, scripts. So yeah, I'm just going to show actually, I'm going to download some flow here from my products now. So, well, get ready. You might want to switch screens.
Okay, we'll switch screens to mine because
all my
I'm
download stuff.
just throwing up your demo reel,
Download stuff.
which is full of
Chris!
excitement.
Chris Bodaglo, he's from Toronto. He runs the EETO. Awesome guy.
Cool. You were talking about this yesterday, by the way, not to get you distracted, but
Yeah.
I thought this was absolutely fascinating because you described this very simply, and you almost made it sound like I could do it.
Oh, you can easily do that. It's like the real thing is like, so it's kind of like, I'd be best maybe if I had only have a whiteboard. But yeah, it's just essentially just, if you want to go back to it, we can go talk, I guess, really quick through that. So that's just that whole kind of tunnel thing is on his screen.
Oh yeah, switch back to mine actually.
So like that whole screen thing, yeah, totally go frame by frame. Hey, you got it.
I learned that.
I know.
From you
Nice
yesterday
one.
or the other day.
So yeah, so like this is just particular with just emitting solids over and over and again. And the solid is just a circle shape. And then what I did is I made a pre-comp of different variations using Wiggle, just variations of sizes that be able to have uniqueness and random kind of seed. And then also used just using like the warp technique to be able to have this kind of distorted tunnel, and then on top of that using turbulence displays, on top of that using a wave warp, and then multiplying that again. Hey, James is here. James is like my coworker from Australia. He's amazing. Nice. Yeah, so that's pretty much just all particular, and then on top of that is just adding little flourishes here and there, and it was just again playing with, I guess, playing with the organicness of it.
Yeah, so that's just a circle with a stroke, and you're distorting this. Is that with a stroke?
It's a solid, because like that way it's solid in a pre-comp to be able to kind of like give that.
Oh, and then you have them layered on top of each other.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just layered completely in Z depth. That's right, Z, not Z. But I guess I'm in Rome now, so it's Z depth. So there you go.
Yeah, you lost me. But okay, who's
right.
Zed?
Exactly.
He's from overseas.
Just beyond the border.
So good. Thank you so much for posting that, Gus. Awesome. Anna, we're always curious if you guys are joining us for the first time. Always nice to see some new faces, as well as appreciate the old, not old, but I shall say, just good. Yeah, I mean, old friends. It's okay. Like, you have old friends that you've never met, probably.
Never met?
Right?
Kind of, sort of.
Maybe,
yeah,
maybe
actually.
not.
There's a few people that like I've never met, and I always kind of like try to go back to be honest. So yeah, just installing stuff over here. Thomas and Zach Levitt's Flow. That's what I'm installing at the moment. Delicious piece morsel.
Welcome.
To Zach's Vormazies.
So this is fun, and I just like watching this because you can see where you've probably inserted other technologies too. Just in terms of, actually I could never be too sure, but I think there might be some Cinema 4D in there, as well as maybe some Flash animation. But
yeah, that's right, Thomas. It's all about the flow right now. Just getting that installed.
Getting some things installed. Ukraine's in the house.
Flow won't crash. It will be the one time that Flow will crash.
If something crashes, we drink. Alright. Yeah,
get your questions ready. If you want to talk about what's the difference between pronouncing C from Z, it's C or Z. That's about it, Simon. C, Z, C or Z. How cool is that animation? Lots of work and effort.
Yeah, and I like some of this, because some of this is actually like 2D, maybe all done in After Effects. This one might not be, but I know this is like...
Oh, it's all After Effects. The only thing, like in this instance, for this example, the ship, for the shading, to be able to get that kind of shading, I was using actually Cinema 4D for that one. But the one before that, the submarine, was using Element 3D. With a mix of CC Sphere to be able to do the globe kind of quickly and efficiently as much as possible.
Gotcha. See, and you never can be too sure, and that's the cool thing is you can actually
totally.
There's different ways to skin the cat.
Merge, huh? Exactly. It's all about the merge. It's all about the synesthesia of kind of.
Ooh, is this cinema? This is cinema.
That's cinema. Excuse me. That's Cinema 4D.
See, absolutely. I would have thought, okay, well, this is probably After Effects, but you're like, no.
Hey, Joe's here. So Lester Banks. Lester Banks is probably like one of the best curated sites. Like, if you want to ever get like inspiration, tutorials, to get updates, go to lesbanks.com. It's by far one of the best sites and curated. It's fantastic. It's really
in another tab, by the way. Not
it's
right now.
Fantastic.
Oh, Rizal's 3 a.m. Still watching. Awesome. We'll make sure we use our. I'm gonna try to channel my best Andrew. This is the soothing voice since it's nighttime. This is 3 a.m. for you.
How now?
Just has that nice voice, talking keyframes and making things spin and radiuses of glows of making things happen. I just sound like I'm coming down with a cold. That's all that sounds like.
I wish I was coming down with a cold. That's not true, actually. I kind of I'm on the cusp of it because I've been just been going so hard lately. I want to sleep. I'm not gonna lie, I just want to sleep.
Yeah, not today though, my friend.
I know, right? It's gonna be all the keyframes all the time. Doop-a-doop-a-doop, just trying to get some downloads.
It's when you have, this is one that you reviewed, just kind of recaps. So this is one of the projects that you've reviewed. So you always have access to those.
How long have you guys been animating? Let's see here. Hey, there's Michael's there. Cool. How long have you guys been animating? Did you attend animation school, or is that an outdated concept? Truthfully, I didn't go to animation school, so I guess it's really not an outdated concept. But it's kind of like, I didn't go to school. I went to school for 3D graphics, like becoming a modeler and texture artist. This is back in 2002, and graduated from that, and then kind of kicked off my career by just going, you know, moving forward.
Which is probably one of the harder things that you can tackle in school is 3D.
Yeah, at the time it was like extremely, exceptionally difficult. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was really difficult.
Render times.
Well, that's it. You were part of a team at that time period. Like, it was kind of like that missing element, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it was definitely not what most people think it was. All right, I think I'm good almost. Yeah, keep on bringing questions. There should have been a model. Tell me about it. I wish. If I could have been a model, just like, ding. Nah, I can't do that. I've been using Cinema 4D since 2001 and know it pretty much inside and out. Totally. Self-taught is probably the best way, to be honest, in the grand scheme of things. Hey, Steven's here. Hey, buddy. A ton of intricate details in my animations. How do you know where to allocate the detail? Actually, it's a really good question. So I guess the detail, like for me, it's always kind of like what's going to help tell the story, what's going to help kind of like gain that impetus when you're like, for a viewer, because like again, you have to realize how people like perceive things, and that's probably the most important thing, is to be able to understand that you have to tell the story in a certain amount of time, so it's going to be able to help that along. Are you communicating happiness? Are you indicating sadness? Or are you just trying to get from one scene to another? So again, at that point, if it's storytelling, if you're trying to build the story, that's where you want to tell this detail. That's where you want to really kind of emotionally get involved. That's where you want to push. That's kind of where I go.
Oh, yeah.
Are you pre-prod on your own project? Yeah. So I try to do as much pre-production as much as possible. Hey, Daniel's here. Daniel Elder's amazing traditional animator. Goddamn. If you want to know who traditional animation god is, this guy is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so when it comes
Blobby, sorry.
Can we do blobby splashy shapes? We could. I know. Do you have an example of that? Maybe if you could.
I think along those lines is at least like even that tunnel animation had a very liquid-like properties, which was cool.
Oh.
You know. I know. I personally like the idea of, again, just doing a lot. Keyframes. Simple. Oh, want to switch to your screen? Just kidding. I'm just joking. Anytime you're showing your serial numbers.
Grab it now. Go.
Okay, cool.
Get to the chopper now. Now.
Sweet. Awesome. Yeah, we're good. Go get some lunch.
Yeah, get some of that broccoli and rice.
Chris, our tech guy's been here all morning. We haven't even let him go to the bathroom at all, and so he's been like holding it for 4 hours. Poor guy. No bathroom for you. He's like, please get something to eat. I'm like, oh, but you're our tech savior. Okay, don't be gone long. Just kidding. You're good.
All right, so yeah.
Ooh, towards the ends of your gib. Can we do blobby splashy shapes toward the end of your demo? Exactly. I agree. I like that stuff.
Towards the end of my demo reel. Yeah, so that was mostly, so if you want to actually load that up, I'll show you. I can actually talk through that really quick.
Yeah, man.
I can't download it because some of the sites are actually blocked by the Adobe IT team, but that's okay. But yeah, so if you want to go, like, I guess I'll talk through it really easily here.
So right here, maybe actually step back a little bit.
Exactly. That's what I hate about Vimeo. There you go. Let's play this bad boy from, I guess. So this stuff. Sorry. So yeah, so like that swirls, all that stuff, that's actually 3D stroke. So like that's not hand animated at all. That's all 3D stroke. That's all that is. So 3D stroke with taper. And then as far as like the concentric circles, that kind of splashy look, that aesthetic, that's all that is just using a circle with turbulence displace. That's it.
I'm looking for to pass it up already.
Yeah, it's at the end.
Oh. Let's just run through it. Like this stuff, linear stuff, like I get it, I get it, like
so
that.
Here, I'll step through. Yeah, that's right. So this is just 3D stroke, and then all I did is just duplicated that layer, like just took one and then just put the rotation point in the anchor, duplicate, 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 duplicate around concentrically, and then used a drop shadow to be able to get that color offset, and then just tweak the colors per comp just using the fill layer. And then from that, so that's just one thing to be able to like draw your eye into, and then it just wipes itself off. And then 3D stroke again with a blur, and then using the curves method that I was showing in the first day to be able to give that kind of blobby look, to be able to get that aesthetic. And then these are just all duplicates of 3D stroke, just offset from one another. And again, that's just 3D stroke that's running around, and that's it. And this way was just the most effective way, the fastest way to be able to create that. These little blobby bits that are animating around the AE, you can see when I'm going frame by frame here, you can see that there's hold frames, and those hold frames themselves are just actually posterized time. So the posterized time, instead of running at 24 frames per second, I'm actually running it at 12 frames per second. So then what's happening is that what's in animation, traditional animation, is called on twos. So you're animating every second frame. But in this sense, I'm trying to create and I'm trying to mimic an aesthetic of traditional animation. So to be able to create that mimic and that aesthetic, to be able to have fun with, that's how you create that look. Because then again, that triggers that eye. Yes, Tropico 3D stroke, that's correct. And then these little blurry, smudgy bits that are around my initials, that blurry, smudgy bits is just particular, and they're just splashing with turbulence. And then they have some air resistance and some wind, and then again Gaussian blur, and then all you need to do is tweak the curves to be able to get some nice offset, and that's how you get it.
I'm saying like like I could do it.
Yeah, if I could actually download the stuff, I could step through it, but unfortunately I can't download it here, and it is a brand new laptop, so I got just for this event. But
thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so that's
can we put that on the corporate card?
Yeah, right. So you can see it just animates around, just a mask shape, a circular mask shape, and that's all there is to it. And again, like the reason why I'm animating everything in the sense of, like, say, trap code, instead of trying to do it traditionally, if I'm trying to do it any other way, I'm doing it this way, so in that way, if I want to change or tweak the aesthetic really quickly and really efficiently, I can just change a few values, and those few values allow me to be able to have that flexibility. And you can see too also what I'm doing in this, you look onto the edges, the vignetting, as well as the aberration, that's actually using Magic Bullet looks from Red Giant, and again, that's pretty much it, playing that off, I guess, easily. Do you prefer posterized time effect or using it as expression?
What's posterized time?
So posterized.
Oh, posterized time. Is that a Canadian thing?
It could be. I don't know. Posterized.
I'm just messing with you.
Not too sure. But yeah, like, do I prefer the expression or the effect? Personally, I like using the effect more than the expression. There's a time and a place to use the expression versus the effect. I use the effect for playing with jittery keyframes, so in that way I can actually keyframe it and I can actually artistically interpret how I want to be able to show this off. This way I can have that level of detail, that level of control. And as I said before, like when I try to build things, I try to build things that are non-detrimental to the project or non-detrimental to the client, because if a client comes back and says, you know what, I really hate this staggered looking kind of look, so instead of doing that, I want it smooth and simple. So all I have to do is delete posterize effect and done. It's pasteurized.
Oh, it's a pasteurized effect. Like,
pasteurized.
I'm kidding.
That sounds even weird.
Yeah, it does.
Like pasteurizing.
But like, I think that's the first time we've ever seen that happen on screen.
Right. You're welcome.
Like,
I'm gonna clip a little gif of that.
It's like
that would be awesome.
That's right. Yeah, right.
Oh man, if we could only get the feed of
it's
this,
like Meet the
GIF. You know how awesome that'd be?
Does it Meet the Parents?
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's totally it.
Oh,
I'm so happy Jason's here. But yeah, so so that's how I got that effect. So yeah, just 3D stroke, looks, and then layering.
And it pays off, man.
On top of everything. Because like when you look at it, like it looks like there's so much happening, but in reality, it's like you're looking at maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds of animation, and it's literally just comps duplicated with offset time. And you know, the aesthetic, the look, whatever you want to be able to call it, there it is. The free
That
CS
easy.
tools, 20% free 3D streaks. Cool. That's right.
Particle emitter, huh? Yeah, I guess you could go that. I mean, I'm always a little hesitant anytime I see C4D. I'm like, okay, well then you gotta kind of like render that out, and like, what can you?
Yeah,
I think you're saving render time if you could pull things off in After Effects. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely. Well, see, the thing is, like, you have like really great previews in Cinema 4D. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a C4D artist. I'd like to dabble as much as I can, but truthfully speaking, if I'm going to do something, I want to do in After Effects because it suits my style. I like big, bold graphics just because, like, maybe that's the traditional artist in me, but I'm a big fan of just doing something elegantly simple because, like, I know that my final destination is still going to be After Effects after Cinema 4D. I know I still have to bring it to After Effects to add value, I guess, not value, but add kind of like cool shit to it. And if I can add more cool shit to it faster and I can do it within already in After Effects and it's just a layer, I don't have to have, like, you know, output passes and then having all those passes, and especially in After Effects where it's not a node workflow. You know, I like to keep my layer stack down to a minimum, but this allows me to be able to have quicker flexibility, quicker response, especially when I'm doing it kind of on the fly, I guess. I don't know. I try to create based off of what's necessary, what's needed. Don't overcomplicate it. And that's the thing is, you know, when it comes down to it, like yesterday, I didn't even have an iRig, and that's okay. I didn't have an iRig. At the end of the day, I knew what I was creating. I knew what I was crafting and why I was crafting it. Yeah.
I would like to guess at what 3D Party plugin you use the most, and I don't remember the name of it.
Oh, Element?
No, I was thinking your search tool.
Oh, so yeah, so like that FX console from Video Copilot.
FX console.
Yeah, it's helped it. Actually, so Video Copilot worked with the Adobe team to be able to create
Actually,
it.
yeah, let's switch to you.
It's awesome.
Do you mind? Oh no, sorry.
Good timing.
We always do that.
I see
That's
how
our
it
little
is.
joke we play.
I get it.
Return, maybe?
So yeah,
That's our new joke. Whenever the person gets up, hey, can we switch to...
No! No! So yeah, so right back at, again, naming shit, essentially. And then, hey, look, I finally installed Explode Shape Layers because everybody was talking about it.
Cool.
I have it. It's great. You know, it's kind of like the de facto standard now within After Effects for a lot of this stuff, which is...
Right. So Explode Shape Layers, is that if you have an Illustrator file?
That's right. So, like, quite literally, it's just taking an Illustrator file. So, like, for example, this little doodad, and instead of going over here, then, like, you know, create shapes from vector, and then you can see what this, like, kind of brings in. Now, when we're looking at it, for example, the big thing is, like, we're looking at this, and we're like, you know, like, now I look at it, and I'm like, okay, so I have this artboard over here that I have to delete. Oh, wow, what's this? There's another artboard. Okay. Oh, did I get everything? I think. Yeah. Okay. So I did. So that's the thing is, like, that's one way of doing it. Another really good way is, again, if I'm just going to use this, again, just use Explode Shape Layers. It's just literally there.
Gives you exactly what you
that
need.
just saved me, what, 3, 4, maybe 6
and
clips.
Especially, even if you might not even have it open in Illustrator, but the original illustration in Illustrator is pretty complex.
Oh, massively. So. And that's the other thing, too, is, like, now that I have this layer, this, like, I can go in here, for example, I want to delete this horse because I'm horrible. And then... So what I'm going to do is, like, take that, and the nice thing is then I can explode it. So in that way, everything has their own individual kind of output. And this is the kind of thing is, like, I'll take this and I'm like, okay, so do I want this as one separate object? So, you know, if I want to animate this, let's say separate the dimensions, and I just want to animate the X, like the Y, like, do I want to add a wiggle value to be able to, like, wiggle this up and down, and then give it, like, a limiter to say I can only travel between these values? You know, and then, like, wiggle within those values? Maybe that's a really good way to do it. Excuse me. Maybe that's the best way to do it. I don't know. But again, it's one of those things that, like, I'd like to look at it and maybe review it. Another really good way is, like, let's say I wanted to go inside of just this layer itself, and let's say I want to take this, I want to duplicate the stroke. Why would I do that? I don't know. Let's find out. So, you know, if I bring this out, I'll change this to a round cap. So now we can see what I'm doing. I'm going to add a dash, because why not? I'm crazy like that. So then I can see that I'm having this dash, and then you can see I can start breaking all this assets up. So right off the bat, I'm starting to add a whole lot more, not complexity, but kind of like making my layers be more efficient in a sense. And so in this way I can keep playing with it, keep kind of twirling around and seeing what I can do. So you can see what we'll get up to here.
And I thought this was cool because I think you might have covered this yesterday a little bit. Like, that's a good way to animate something along a path, is really you're just messing with the dash.
It. Exactly. So you can see now, like, there. Now see,
There.
like, I
See,
have
look
it,
at
see
that.
it's
Yeah, that's
still
all you
within
have
it.
to do.
You know, I have like this massive distance here, and that's fine. But like, you can see like
That
that's
could be
essentially-
anything.
Totally. And that's the thing is like I look at the aesthetic. Okay, so there's the aesthetic. I can bring it back down. Let's say the stroke width. Bring it down, down, down. And this is like when I'm trying to make something.
Oh, Chris is back, everybody.
We can all breathe a sigh of relief. Did you get a cheddar bun? Like, is that like
He comes back with this
What a
big
boss.
sandwich.
yeah, what a boss.
He's like, not only am I gonna leave, but I'm gonna come back and make you really jealous. Look at
That's
that big old
amazing.
hoagie. That's like Dagwood style almost. I dig it. Dagwood, there's an old reference for you.
No kidding. Hello, Archie. So another really thing is like when I'm doing design or if I'm trying to build up like something that's going to help me like I guess with my layer stack to be able to help minimize things. One thing I like to really use is called the difference layer mode or style. And the reason why I do that is because now I can see that I have, you know, this is what it is, and if I want to be able to like overlay this to be able to have a look and like, okay, is that the same size?
Yeah,
So,
okay,
like-
good. Just for like measurement purposes, you could even make sure it's like centered on the line correctly,
Exactly.
maybe, or something.
So like now I can see that like that's pretty appropriate. Like I'd say that's pretty bang on. It's one of those things that like, you know, you can like dial in because like now I have this difference mode layer from the original design and I can say, okay, that's great. It's pixel perfect. And then that way, if I ever have, let's say a client come to me like, I really don't think you you matched the design properly. I think you need to redo it. Well, to be able to do that, I can literally just take the original design and like as we had before, like
Lay it
here's the
over.
original design here, right? So we'll take the original design, which is not that guy. Where is that guy? It is that guy. So here we are, maybe. Where is that? That's weird. It's disappeared. But that is it. Weirdo. All right, so this. So if I ever have like the client come back to me and say, you know, like you're actually not matching the design. Well, the nice thing is I can actually take the design, switch it over to difference mode, and then the nice thing is then let's say this layer that we were just working on. So we find this layer. Here it should be. And then you can see, boom, I can like literally put it, like just turn it on right now. Let's give it a new color just to be able to help like pop it out. And you can see that it matches 1-to-1.
Perfect.
So then
Yeah,
that way, if you ever want to be able to show the client's like, this isn't matching, this is not what I like, there it is. And the nice thing is that you can actually do that and then literally just take that design, take that aesthetic, and then literally, again, using FX Console, I can take a screenshot of this and then right in my library, it's showing that, hey, 1-to-1, it works. Happy days.
Cool. What's Up Rocky Rourke was an illustrator that we had on the stream a couple weeks ago, so he's an awesome illustrator and somebody you probably want to work with. You know, it's like you can easily take his stuff, so this could easily be one of his illustrations, making
Totally.
sure you got it pixel perfect roughly. And
Exactly, and that's the whole like the beauty of like using the mode here, as you can see. And just set it to difference mode to be able to kind of like line up all your accessories. Like there's the bike. Does the bike line up still? Well, let's find out. You can see, oh, it's 1-to-1. Perfect. Works great. And you let's see these pixels. Are they going to line up? And you can see it with the outline, for example. Does it line up? It lines up. Hey! And that's the thing is like that's why difference mode is such an important thing when working and to be able to make sure crafting. It's an inverted color because it is in a difference mode. Because there's the design. Boom. Cool. But yeah, that's how I typically try to make that stuff work. Because that's the stuff.
no, that is good. That is good. Yeah, and luckily, at least in this case, in terms of color, by the way, just kind of answering Kit Farman's question about color theory.
What about color theory?
If you took any formal color theory education.
I've never taken formal color theory training, but I think and this is going to sound super, super cheesy, but like if you really want to be able to get to the basis of color theory, it's like go outside, go into nature, look around. Honestly, one of the best things you can ever do is like look around you and actually have an idea of how colors are composed, because that's obviously what we evolved from. That's what we see. That's the things that are the most important thing that we have to realize, is that where we're pulling all this information and this data into our minds and trying to extrapolate it and make art out of it, it's from nature. And that's the thing, is like, look at a sunset, look at all these things.
That is good. I'll post it. Here's my color theory. This is just the book that I learned in college.
Oh, nice.
Itten's Elements of Color. So this book is like, it's not that big. It's like less than 100. It's thin. It's perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can go into the deep depths of color, or just tell me how to pick colors and how colors are related one to another, because some are stronger than others. Like, yellow's super strong.
Exactly.
You know, blue isn't. You know, there's so much stuff. I dig it, but.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the most important thing, that people have to realize, that it's, as they say,
and even like you said, sort of going into nature. Of course, there's Adobe Capture, which is a mobile app.
Yeah, I actually use that all the time.
Colors.
Totally. Yeah, it's fantastic for grabbing palettes.
Yeah.
The mobile apps from Adobe are amazing. Like, seriously, wow. Like, they actually, and like, I forget what the vector tool, like the actual what it was for the vector. Like, you could take a picture and convert it to a vector. I've used that so much.
Yeah, that's in Capture as well. And in terms of color, because what it's doing is it's capturing the same intensity of those colors. So it's either going to be the same brightness or shade of those colors. Because in this room, if we captured colors, everything is being cast with that same light. So you're always gonna get a good palette.
Oh, totally.
You know,
and that's the thing, is like, that's exactly exciting. Yeah, you are a bad friend, Michael. It's okay. That's this. The explode options are in After Effects. No, the explode options aren't in After Effects. It's actually a script, it's a script from Zach Lovett on AE Scripts. Yeah, it's really good. You can Zach Lovett ZL explode shape layers right there, right here.
And typically you'll work with, I don't know, do you work with a designer or?
Always. Yeah, it's always about working with a designer.
Or illustrator, like Rocky Rourke, who's hopefully still with us.
What's the question here? I can see Simon saying something. Nah, to Brandon Grail. It's true. I don't think Andrew needs more than his site in Vimeo for portfolio. I also have Dribbble too. Dribbble, I'm not going to say it, but I have to say it. It used to be a really good kind of place to be able to post a lot of stuff for portfolio, but it's kind of dried up these days. Not going to lie. It's kind of just
dried up to a dribble, would you say?
A drivel, maybe? No,
that was the dumbest joke.
No, that's horrible. But it's kind of like all the same now, and you know, it's not a bad place. There's still some good market chances and opportunities to be able to find good clients and be able to network with great artists. And actually, that's one of my favorite things to do, is go on Dribbble, find an amazing design, and ask somebody to work with. Hey, Rocky Rourke is here.
Sweet, buddy.
Sign me up. Yeah, send me an email. Just Embury@gmail. Seriously, hit me.
Yeah,
I would love to do stuff. I like stuff. Like, actually, my old business cards, on the back of it was like, let's make cool shit.
Yeah, nice. Perfect. All this stuff you did. Oh yeah.
Oh, he did like Fraser Davidson's course. Yeah, he totally did. You did Fraser's course. I know, right, James?
Oh, look.
It's horrible.
Yeah, perfect. Look.
Totally.
Huh. Awesome.
Yeah, it's Fraser Davidson from Cub Studio in London, United Kingdom, and that's that tutorial. But yeah.
Shout out to Rocky Rourke. And then all friends here. Friends in the house.
Do I drink coffee while working? Hells yes. All the time. Yeah, actually, like, it's like my lifeblood. How much coffee do I drink in a day? Truthfully, well, it actually, there's some clinical studies have shown that anything between 5 to 7 cups a day helps with cardiovascular kind of stamina. So it's a good thing, believe it or not. Maybe just because it makes your heart beat faster for longer. So you're actually building up the endurance. But seriously, it's pretty healthy. But truthfully, I really enjoy drinking coffee. It's probably like my lifeblood if I have anything.
Yeah, that's good.
Hi guys. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep on breaking these things up. Stuff on stuff.
We're putting him to work. We're like, entertain us. Make go to work.
Better.
You work. We're just gonna watch you work.
That's all right.
Entertain us.
Show me what you've got.
Good.
Anybody have seen that? Like,
Hey, my new friends, Fa276. I could call you Fa276 or 256.
Hi,
But let us know if you actually have a real name. That would be fantastic.
Don't. So yeah, so this is the one thing that like I really kind of like. I guess where do you? Okay, I'll answer this question really quick. Where do I get inspiration from? Honestly, this is kind of a big question. Most of my inspiration really doesn't come from like, you know, going to art galleries. Although I go to art galleries, I go to photography events. You know, I like to go to, you know, the art event, like the odd event for people. But like personally, my favorite thing is my friends. And at the end of the day, like my friends, the people that I surround myself with, the people who are always motivated, that constantly want to push the medium, and I'm not saying just in a graphic way, but in a way that people motivate me. Like at the end of the day, the inspiration really comes from, you know, working and being surrounded by great people, and it really makes a huge difference, you know. And like that's the things, like I look at the people I go to the gym with, I look at the people that, you know, like, you know, I think my parents, my sister, like I love them deeply. Hi Mackenzie, hi mom, dad. At the end of the day, like those people matter, you know. Like Austin's here. Austin's a fantastic man. Like I've met him a few times now, and he's a really good guy. You know, at the end of the day, like draw inspiration from the interactions with people. You know, draw inspiration from, I guess, the experience that you're able to have in life. And you know, don't get me wrong, inspiration comes from art. Like I'm looking directly across, like just right above this camera is a Saul Bass, you know, poster for Vertigo, and Saul Bass was just on a different level from a different time, just incredible. Yeah, so I like really quickly, what I was going to get back to this piece was, for example, if we're going to look at this layer, for example, this quick layer, one thing with obviously when you're bringing in an Illustrator design is that you want to break that layer, and what did you get? It looks nothing like that we had, and you'll see you break it down, it's still nothing. So that's in this instance, for example, I don't actually break that layer. Surprise. And that's the thing, is like there's lots of ways to be able to, like, you know, skin the cat in this instance. And for me, like typically when it comes down to it, I'd like to be able to make an ellipse based off of that, and again use it as a reference. So you want to lock that down.
What's up, Justin Jackson? Welcome. I don't know if it's your first time here or whatever, but thank you for joining us today and yesterday. So
cool. We got peoples.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, so I just kind of recreate that using Motion 2 here from Matt, which is Graph. That's also been here last week. And then like, you see the anchor point here, like, you know, I have a really hard, you can use, there's lots of kind of shortcuts. You can use Reposition Anchor, like Reposition Anchor tool from AE Scripts as well. You can use when you're drawing the ellipse, for example, if you want to grab the ellipse, see if I can remember the shortcut here really quick. So I'm going to draw the ellipse here, and I have Shift Control Alt because I'm on my PC, and I press spacebar, and you can see now I'm interactively actually changing where I can set that anchor point. So I can try to eyeball it, and I try to set it up properly, let go of spacebar, and I can keep going. So it's a really good way to be able to like kind of set this up as best as possible from the get-go. But you can't see my hands because it's actually behind the laptop. But I'm kind of doing an awkward Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Just hold down most of the keys and then spacebar.
So yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like,
is there a way to snap it? Like, so in say for instance in Flash or Animate, you'd be able to double click and it would recenter it back to the center.
No, nothing like that.
No. Okay.
So it's like, you know, that's a close approximation, let's say. Cool, that's good enough. You know, for some instances, depends on what you're actually going to be doing / animating. But like, yeah, if you press Control, Shift, Alt, Spacebar, so you go all like this, the claw, and you can move things around that way. It's fantastic. It's great. It's awesome. I don't use it. It's okay. It's one of those things that if you're drawing and you're going around really easily, it makes perfect sense. But in this instance, I just used the Reposition Anchor tool, and then boom, right there.
Yeah.
Happy days. So it's using Motion 2 from Mount Graph. There it is. It's fantastic that way. I enjoy it. It's fun.
Because that's what you did. As soon as this is the new laptop, you're like, what plugins do I need to install? So Motion 2. I don't know if you want to list them off. You just installed Flow.
Yeah, so Motion 2, Flow. I don't have it here. I don't have it installed right now, but if you can get it, it is honestly one of the like transformational scripts. I have to show it because Mike wrote it, and Mike's a really just awesome guy. Boom, 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 boom. 80 scripts. Mike Overbeck, that is. This is the one that if you don't get it, you need it. And again, be a bigger person, because like Mike is super sweet to everybody, to be able to like, you know, list what you want to pay. And I'll be honest, if you can't afford that much, that's okay. I'll be honest, you know, if you can't afford it, send me an email. I'll gladly buy a coffee for Mike. I'll gladly pay his suggested fee. Send me an email. If you can't afford it, this is one of the things that you need. Like, ease copy is amazing. Like, whew, like copying and pasting and keyframe interpolation. Oh, so good.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
Get it.
It's good. Get it. Get
So,
it,
yeah.
people get it.
Get it. So here we are, like, again, we're looking at this layer. Okay, so we have the right shape. And again, you can be super detailed if you want to. You can see like it's pretty much writing that aliasing line perfectly well. And again, if I want to be able to like say, you can see right off the bat, it's got some transparency on it. So again, this is the instance where I like to use another tool. Again, I don't have it installed right now. Womp, 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 womp. But if you can use linear, you can use like a ramp effect here that's actually found within, like, this is just built right in, right? So you can have the ramp effect. And again, you can use the gradient tool within the fill. I can have the option here to be able to have the linear gradient or a radial gradient within After Effects. But again, I don't use it. And the reason why I don't use it is because I actually don't get control to the points that I'm trying to animate. So for me, it's a huge part that for me, I want these position points. And that's because, like, for me, when I'm animating, I want to be able to have that control. So again, if I look at this and I grab this, you can see the problem inherent with that is now it's not actually locked into that circle. Now, to be able to do that, there's lots of ways to be able to get around that. For me, one of the best ways to get around that, essentially, when it comes down to it, is to be able to create, use some scripting. So if I go into my AE scripts and I grab my RTF, this is something that I've like had since, if I'm going to go back in time, probably I've had this document since 2008. And like, if you guys want it, send me an email and I'll be glad to send it over to you guys and share it up. But why are you open up in Word? Please don't. Just open up with, where is it? You can just use, where is it? More apps. Not Notepad. WordPad. WordPad. That's fun. Go away. Yeah, sure. I'll try it. So anyways, you can see like this is just go away. Ugh. Okay. Now we have to do it this way. Yes, I will try you. No, I do not want to sign in. Thank you. Okay, I accept. Thank you. So for example, this is kind of like my, just kind of like my scripts file that I take around with me everywhere I go, just because like whenever I work, I like to be able to have some scripts that I constantly work with. And it's great. It's for a lot of things. There's different reasons for things. So for example, if I want this, this is like one thing that always triggers me. So CC Bandit follow. I'm going to grab this. This is actually something I got from my friend Paul Canagulero. You can see what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste this expression into, and right off the bat, it's going to snap it to somewhere else that I don't want it to. But the nice thing is you'll see here where it says value. Now that value allows me to be able to reset. So again, if I grab that layer, I find this point here, so I can see them over here, and you can see how I put them kind of like in a rough kind of estimation of maybe where I want them. And now when I move this layer, they lock on. So whereas before, if I don't want this to be able to be attached, you can see they move, and then this gradient doesn't actually move with the object. So for me, it's actually a huge time save, but also now that I have this full control, because if the client ever comes to me and says, we want to animate that, I can do that, because I just have that ability to have these start and end ramp controllers, which is mind-blowing. So yeah.
Quiver. Have you heard of Quiver to load expressions from Workbench?
No, I don't think I've used it.
Oh, it's kinda cool.
I've seen Joe post it before, But yeah, I just take around this document because no matter what computer I go on, because like when I was living and working in London, UK, I was working at Disney, I was working for Pixar, I was working for ITV, I was working for BBC, I was working for Channel 5, and so I'd have to go shop to shop to shop to shop to shop. And whenever I was ever going to these shops, I'd always have access to my Dropbox file, and yeah. So I was able to just grab this document, and since if I was working on a PC or if I was working on a Mac, it allowed me to be able to have that.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of those things that just allows me to save a lot of time. And then the next thing after that I have this kind of sorted out, I'll just kind of go back here, and then again we'll go here and we'll say difference. And you can start to see.
I know you know the person there. They'll send you a copy if you're interested. I assume they're talking to you.
Probably. No, actually, it's probably to you. Or maybe the people in the chat room. Who knows?
And some people, and I think it's interesting. It's interesting to know what you have in what expressions you have in your document. Just like other people are saying, they'll use like Notepad, and
Well,
at the end of the day, at the end of the day. Wow, I'm saying it.
No, you're saying it. It's kind of like osmosis. You kind of like a completely kind of transform. Oh, you'll get everything if you guys want. At the beginning
of the day.
If you guys want anything, you're more than welcome to have it. Why isn't that just value minus position? Is it a scale and possibility too? At the end of let's see, I was going to say, it's like the thing, it's a gradient, so it doesn't really matter for scale position, because like you see, it's just expanding, that's it. So it doesn't matter for scale, Simon. Yeah.
Very cool, very cool.
Can someone post a link? I'd have to see if I can get access to my Dropbox, but I'll try to figure out if I can. So yeah, so let's grab that color really quick because we can, and we see this color is transparent, so we'll grab this color here, and then we'll just take down this transparency. But as far as I was going to say, as far as a ramp goes, if you can get the chance, check out this one. This one is just like, this is shiznit for gradient ramps. Like, ooh, baby.
YY ramp.
YY ramp. Oh, so good. So good. Yeah, so let's see here. And another key short that I use a lot when I'm working or designing, or kind of like taking a design and then bringing it into animation or trying to rebuild certain aspects, is actually Control-Shift-H. I think it would be just Command-Shift-H on Mac. But the reason why I do that is because I don't want to see all these handles, all these controllers. And so for me, I can just hide it and like show. So in that way, it allows me to be able to have visibility, because at the end of the day, it's the visual medium, so you need to be able to have that quick look. 5256. How many years have you been doing this? Totally, I've been doing this now for 16 years. 16 years.
16 long, grueling. No, just kidding.
You're sending energy. Everybody's sending you energy so you don't fall asleep.
I know. Well, I don't have my I don't have my.
Yeah, your Guinness.
I don't have my.
Freudian slip.
Oh yeah.
Bye, Paul.
Just got this kombucha.
You're more than welcome, Paul. Anything I can do to be able to help you guys. Like, again, we're going to say it community, but at the end of the day, it's massively important to be able to always give back to your community. Always give back to the people that
you're making me drink a lot. Somebody mentioned that we have to drink when you say at the end of the day and community, and you said it in one sentence. So
I have the energy for two. I have the energy for two because I just drank about 5 coffees so far this morning. I like coffee. It's kind of like my thing. It's definitely my thing. I'm only at it for 1.5 years. That's okay. You know, everybody does that at their own pace. Some people start, some people stop. Some people start, some people stop. Some people drop it completely. But at the end of the day, like, just do your own, do your own pace. You know, like for me, and this is kind of... It
was After Effects 16 years ago too, right?
Yeah. I was using After Effects 3.5. That was the first After Effects. The first After Effects I loaded was 3. And I remember 3.5. And actually, I was going to get a tattoo of the After Effects tower from the After Effects 6 box.
Oh, wow.
That was like one of my favorite things.
We talked about what it was, because Adobe, it was owned by someone else.
What's that?
I'm looking at because it was actually created by one company who got bought by another company before it ended up in Adobe's hands.
Yeah, that's right.
So the history is pretty vast, and what's interesting is even if you go back to, say, even the 1993 version, roughly, it's still those same keyframes and everything.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
everything's much larger, you know, it's like...
Oh, totally, but everything's also has floating screens.
And
it's like there's nothing was docked.
Yeah, but it was like, it's still the same thing. It's amazing how little it's changed. Like, I don't know, I just think I think they nailed it out of the gate.
It's just one of those things that's been kind of like accepted. Because, like, you know, you want to get good at something, you constantly work at it, and it just helps so much. That's right, it's Cosa. I still have, like, I actually bought off of eBay. I bought a box that had the floppy disks of Cosa.
I used to do television animation. I used to work in Cosa,
like,
a long time ago, and we're talking 1995.
Oof.
So I'm trying to load up those original screens, which is going to be harder than expected.
It.
Wow.
Yeah, that was. I remember working on a version of that.
I don't remember it like this.
Oh yeah, baby. I would totally remember that. All right, what's going on here, Mike? That's awesome, Mike and Mike. But seriously, so Michael, that's awesome. Yellow keyframes, and the tattoo artist didn't want to do it. That's funny. Jardessen's got a great, I guess, ribcage piece. I saw the movie The Crow and to have After Effects. Adobe would have bought me, but they couldn't afford it. It's pretty funny, Roland. All right, got any questions? Oh, I'm almost get on that. Does it flip over? Oh.
There we go. Wow. Good times.
That's pretty funny. Memories.
Cosa After Effects.
Good times.
All right. Good times. Let's switch back.
So essentially, this is like how I kind of break it up. You know, like I try to use expressions where it's relevant, not to be able to like bog down the system, but also trying to, you know, plus not necessarily the design, but it's going to enable opportunities when I get into animation. Because like now, if I want to be able to animate these points at any time, or let's say the client changes their mind on the design aesthetic and they want something over here instead of over there, and again, it can move. It's available. It just is a non-destructive way of working, which is fantastic, by the way. I quite like it.
Yeah, looking at their splash screens is like a trip down memory lane too. Yeah,
You start having like,
because I was just looking at the tower you were talking about.
yeah, well, that's the thing. Is like actually the EE 6.5. If you look at EE, I just remember like the boot screen. It was by far one of my favorite things.
I saw it on.
I actually haven't saved. There's
There we are. Yeah,
And then
5.
that was 6 over there.
Ooh, look at.
That's right there.
There you go. So just so you know.
That's the tower I was talking about. And I think that's the tower in Seattle. But that's when we started like getting crazy with a bunch of it.
Lost it. You guys get the idea. There it is. It's nice.
But yeah, the very first version, I remember like when I had to open up After Effects the first time, and I sat down and I looked at the interface and I was like, no! Like there's so many buttons everywhere, like character, paragraph, audio bars that are floating, and everything was like not actually docked into like one consistent UI. And so it was just, everything was free floating, and I was just like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. I can't believe this is happening right now. I have to learn After Effects. I don't even know how to use After Effects. And like a really funny piece that I had to work on, and this was like a traditional piece, was for it wasn't Coke, it was Pepsi. Pepsi, what's it called? Pepsi Spice? YouTube. And I just remember, yeah, here it is. So this is a piece that I worked on with a place called Flinch, and like this is like old, like this is so old it's not even funny. resolution.
What
Anyways,
was this?
so this is a piece that I did like back in 2004. Anyways, this was a video that we did for Pepsi Spice from Punch Studio and Fatkat. And like I remember working on this, and this is like we had to like composite all of this in After Effects, and like yeah, like all these things with Pat Prue, Robert Anderson, Gene Fowler, Cindy Blakeney, Dave Wrigley, and like we animated this thing in the course of a few days because, well, we didn't have much time. And so this was all animated within Flash, and all these like sparkles and all these particles and all these like shock waves and all this stuff was actually me watching the Trap Code Particular demo and trying to figure out how to make particles but make them within Flash and make it like a brush thing. Yeah, it was just crazy back then. Get ready for it. So this aired in Jamaica, and what was the best thing was like this, and this is like a glitch that we didn't notice until it went to air. It was like as it's playing, everything looks great, everything's happy, and then watch this back kind of like dwarf guy, pop! He just literally just pops right straight up. So he's up there, and then before that he's down below. He just pop. But yeah.
Nice.
Question: how do I present ideas to clients? Just sketches or prototype animation? What's your favorite coffee brand? Favorite coffee brand? I like McDonald's coffee. Guilty as charged. Tim's, since I'm Canadian. I don't know if anybody noticed today. Actually, that's not true. There's one person that just outside here, Adobe, noticed today that I was wearing my Canadian tuxedo, which is denim on denim. I was trying to do that just for you Canucks. But yeah, so that I did that today. But yeah, McDonald's is probably my favorite coffee. I drink a lot of it. Michael knows that. How do I present ideas? Typically I try to present ideas and like, again, I touched on this briefly. It was about a waterfall methodology, but typically how I try to like work it out is that I have the script that's already been approved from the client, and then once that's been approved and everybody's kind of agreeing on the messaging, you go into the storyboards, and from the storyboards, that's where you can really define the visual, not so much the visual aesthetic, like what it's going to look like, but what you try to build up is the storyboard, the key points, the key actions that are actually going to make the big difference. Yeah, it's very meta. So make the storyboards, and the storyboards can be like very rough at this point because again, it's the very first. It could be literally just like just a hand-drawn chicken scratch essentially. But like, again, if you need to walk through the client, it depends on what the time and the turnaround time is. Does it make more sense to have chicken scratch, like really loose drawings, or does it make more sense to actually flush out the idea, illustrate every little bit? Because again, creative interpretation and subjectivity, that's the hardest part about animation or art in general, is to be able to teach and help people understand what they're actually looking at. So it makes the most amount of sense to be able to work with people, to be able to speak in their language, what helps them interpret what you're trying to present to them.
Hey, congratulations, Creative Spirit. Is that your first animation? The circle going across the screen? If so, bravo. Good stuff.
Circles? I don't see circles.
No, but just they animated it.
Oh,
if that's your first animation, man, our job's done. I mean, that's a victory.
I'm good.
That's kind of awesome, right?
Good
Isn't it
idea,
fun?
right?
Isn't it so empowering? Like when you animated your first thing, you're like, wow, a new world. I'm into it.
I hated it.
Oh, you hated it?
Yeah, that's the thing, is I'm my own worst enemy. Everybody knows that. I look at.
Well, I'm not saying it was good, but wasn't it? Didn't it open up a whole new world when you like?
Yeah, well, that's
animation?
a whole new world. No, it's like, but honestly, when it comes down to it, I'm saying this shit. For me, it became like my dreams became a thing. You know, like I can actually create what I wanted to, and that was kind of like awesome because like that became real. That's what I remember. Now it's coming back to me, because all the keyframes are still there, just, you know, not a big deal, but like it's all, the fundamentals are still there. Oh yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is like when you look at that, like, you know, you have your handles, that doesn't change because it's all fundamentally built off of key core concepts, because like,
and it makes sense.
Well, when you think about it,
visually.
oh totally. But that's the thing, is like you have to remember, like, why was that a thing, right? Because like when you were in the edit bay back in the 70s and you actually had like a reel to cut, you actually had film to cut, you wanted handles. What did handles look like? And like keyframes were the big thing in the 80s because people, it started becoming non-destructive. It started to be editable. Which was amazing.
Totally remember this. That's good stuff.
I don't actually, James. Thanks, Joe. I can't sing the whole song. That's the only part I know. The first animation I ever did was in Flash 2, maybe 3. That was the first time I did anything for animation. I was actually doing it for Newgrounds. That's like old. But yeah. Do you guys ever use cubicbezier.com? No, I don't. It's good. It works really well, but I actually don't. That's really cool. I didn't know that, Sky. That's pretty interesting to be able to do that.
Do you remember that? Did you ever use Creative Cloud or
Creative
Cow?
Yeah, totally.
Do you remember this guy?
Yeah, I know Aharon.
Because he's So I haven't heard from him in ages, but
yeah, I know Aharon. He actually gave really crazy story, and I mean really crazy story. So if you want to talk about humble beginnings and kind of opportunities, I was in Boston shooting an event for Twitter, and this is when Twitter was getting relaunched back in 2008, 2007. They're just relaunching the brand, and I went down with a production crew to shoot it. And what was really crazy is that I was in Boston and I heard about After Effects New York, because After Effects New York was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
If you were getting After Effects, AENY was the place. And it just so happened that Aharon and Peter Norby from Track Code, he was going to present, and I was like, I have to go there. I have to meet these people. And so I told this production company, I'm going to be sick on Monday. And what do you mean you're going to be sick? And I'm going to be sick. So I called in sick prematurely, I guess. And me and my best friend, Steve Valdez, or Esteban, we got a bus. I only had $250 in my bank account. We got a bus together, a cheap bus ticket, going from Boston to New York City. We slept, we had separate park benches, but we slept on different park benches that night. And we went to AENY, and that was the first time I met Aharon and shook his hand, or Aaron, however you want to pronounce it, but if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And that's how we met. And fast forward from that, when after I met him in New York, I guess I'm the crazy Canuck that's willing to do crazy things. He was on Twitter looking for a traditional animator, and I put my hand up to be able to sign me up. I'd love to help you. He's like, weren't you the guy that went to AENY that that you came here and you had no money? And I was like, yeah, that's totally me. And he's like, yeah, totally. Let's do this. And this was for that was for Red Giant's plot device. So it was the first time they did their own short films. Worked with him on that. And then fast forward maybe 2-3 years from that, I got an opportunity with Imaginary Forces through Aharon, because he referred me to a mutual friend that worked for Sesame Street. And so it just kind of just bounced around a lot.
Nice, man. You realize it's a small world.
Damn,
out there.
You're here, dude. Hey. I probably did, to be honest. We probably bumped into each other that night. But that's the thing is so then that happened. And then from that AENY, then happened with the Sesame Street editor, Jesse. Jesse's an incredible guy. He's at Disney now. And then from that, I then bounced to Imaginary Forces. And then from Imaginary Forces, I worked with a guy named Brian Summers. And then from that guy, he introduced me. That was during Imaginary Forces. We did the Google, we took over Times Square with Google. And then that referred me over to Wells Fargo piece that I did with We Are Royale, because he was working there with them. And so I kind of bounced around a ton. And I guess that's how it worked.
Nice.
So Render Tom, or Thomas, is the guy that helped made this tool, Flow. This guy right here. So he's just dropping some info bombs.
I take it. I presented with Aaron it was probably 10 years ago too.
No way.
Yeah, in New York City for an Adobe event. We brought him in, and he, in fact, I was a contractor at the time, so they brought us both in, I guess.
That's wicked cool.
Super, cool guy.
So this is a really cool thing that I really enjoy about within Explode shape layers is, so for example, I just kind of converted that into vectors, which is going to be readable by After Effects with shape layers, which is fantastic. But now I want to be able to do more with it. So in this instance, there's lots of ways to be able to do this. In this kind of instance, what I do is I'll explode it. You know, you can see there's 80 shapes here. Whew. 80.
80 shapes.
So that's not the end of the world. But the nice thing is that I can do with this is that I can then break all this up as I'm doing now, which is pretty cool. And then I can animate them individually, or I can use something like Newton to be able to animate like some physics, like maybe dropping down and filling up. That'd be kind of neat. But it depends on what the kind of aesthetic I'm going to do. And once that's all done, what I'll do then, I'll just grab all those layers again that we just broke up. And all these layers. And you see, I'll select them all, and I can just merge them all back together again. And because Zach's a good guy, he learned to listen to my request, where if I wanted to animate individual easing for each position of these balls, it actually inherits that or accepts the easing and then brings that into the merged layers. Yeah, it's a really great way of doing things. But anyways, yeah, it's pretty much, I'd say almost pretty much broke down, so we'll do this later. Physics balls. But let's keep going here and just wrap this up really quick. And I think we're pretty close to actually start animating, which would be nice.
I'm gonna ask a dumb question.
Oh, bring it.
If there are any dumb questions. But like typically, so I'm checking right now.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like grouping shapes, there's no such thing as a traditional like, you know, a grouping like you would in Illustrator.
No, that's definitely like the only way to be able to do is that copy and paste and copy and paste and copy and paste, but then you still have to reset, so that's why you have to duplicate the source layer to make sure that you have that position, that value, the size, position, all that stuff, and then bring it back in together. And once you have that all together, again, you're looking at tons of layers, lots of extra time. Is it really truly worth it?
Yeah.
Up to you. But that's where like Explode shape layers saves a lot of time to be able to have that kind of functionality that we were just discussing. So in that instance, I'd say more often than that, I'd say stick to Explode shape layers.
That's cool. Went through all that. Exploded. We're exploding layers.
We exploded. And again, like for example, this again, I'm going to use that same technique that I just did. I will be way up here.
We're talking resources.
Let's see what we have questions.
Crank up. Oh wait, Roland, it's 5:07 a.m.
Yeah, he's sticking around for us.
Let's start keeping track of these points people are earning.
Roland's a really good guy.
It's just a random thing. All right, Roland, you get. That's 20 points.
20 points for Gryffindor. Too much? Maybe. You know, I really don't like that abbreviation, Sky, ESL. Honestly, every time I hear ESL or anybody talks about ESL, I always think English as a second language.
What does it stand for?
Oh, in the community, everybody says it as for Explode shape layers. But, but like that's the thing is like 90% of the thing is like it's English as a second language. 7 a.m. Yeah, for James.
Yeah, but you probably you weren't up all night, James. You're just maybe an early riser.
No, he's definitely like we work together quite a bit. And he's really good.
He's
guy.
probably been up all night.
Yeah, definitely. He definitely deserves 20 points. He's awesome.
All right. Well, but we gotta, yeah.
He's in Brisbane. Hey, Devin's here. No, thanks for coming out, buddy. JC. All right.
Hey, creative spirit, man, you're pretty sharp because you actually did your first. Sounded like you did your first animation in After Effects, but you come from a C4D background. That's cool.
Esports League. That's the thing is that there's
Esports League.
Yeah, for ESL. Get Oprah points for everyone. You get a point. You get a point. You get a point. I just put in the soft boxes over there.
soft box. 1 point.
All right. Any questions? Because I'm just building things up.
Yeah, do your thing. no pressure. You just have the entire community here watching you.
That's
They're
all
like,
right.
oh, you're really gonna do things out? Oh, well, okay,
They're good guys.
Yeah.
Good guys and girls. I actually like. I wouldn't be who I am without these people. To be honest, these guys are just amazing. To be completely truthful, like they've given me a ton.
Gus, how many points does Gus get? Well, he gets plenty of points in terms of, seeing as he's an Adobe employee, he gets it in terms of his paycheck.
It's amazing.
So that's how that works.
That's super awkward here. Feeling the burn. Super awkward.
Yeah.
Talk about awkward.
You got to.
I had a super awkward time in an Uber this morning. It's good times. I like when people freak out at Uber drivers. That's probably
Did you freak out in an Uber driver?
I didn't. The poor guy that was like, and like that was the Uber driver, I guess. He was just like getting it from the woman that he was driving. It was like, really? Really? This is your, really? Oh, get me out, get me out, get me out, get me out.
Were you with someone?
No, it was a carpool, yeah.
Oh, Uber pool.
Yeah,
That's I do that just for fun, just to meet people. I'm just
weird.
kidding.
Just I was gonna say, like, that's how I get my dates. Not gonna lie.
You're there to meet people.
Ladies.
Hey, Uber pool. Hey, come. Where you going? Yeah, I'm going there too. That's weird because you're going where they're like.
Don't do that.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
But more. See, this is where like I like using wire ramp. I wonder actually if I can get that to be able to show you guys the difference. See if I can actually get that. Just give me a second. Can you switch to your screen because I'm going to show.
All right, Gus, we'll give you
again.
points because he did Sad Kitten and he is a new employee. So hats off to you, there, Gus.
I do have to make the name Augustus.
Gus gets 5 points, and
hey, Alex. I want beers with you, Alex. More points equals faster renders. That's how it works. I've been doing this wrong. Austin, hey, James is here. Powell Podgorski.
oh, why would you use a gradient ramp over a gradient layer style?
Because I actually want the points as I was discussing earlier, because I actually want these handles. Okay. Because if I want to add a null to it, or if I want to animate these individually, I can add code to it. Whereas if I was using a layer styles, like actually, let's say, if we dive into it, let's go into layer styles and actually show the gradient here. So you can see right off the bat, I don't actually have access to that. I can only go through here and have this gradient, which I don't like at all. So that's the thing, is like you don't have the amount of control that you think you might have. There's some really cool effects to be able to use like the layer style way, and a more of a visual effect when I say this, because like for example, there's a video that what's it called, Giant Ant did, and I'm calling you out, Giant Ant. Let's see if I can load this up really quick. It was a video that they made for Asana, and so I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, how did they? So I started trying to figure it out one by one. Here you go, if you want to show this bad boy.
Hen, we appreciate you.
Yay, Millie!
We appreciate you too.
Who's Hen Paperman? Anyways, so this video, for example, that yeah, that's right. So it's a beautiful piece by Canada from Vancouver. Yeah, it does have, definitely has more control. That's the built-in one. However, I'm going to show you a better way of doing things.
I like it. Cedric, I like that. So basically points just equal hugs at max. That's pretty much the equivalent of what they're worth.
Send me to max. Please, Adobe, please send me to max. I will give everyone hugs.
Adobe. Come on, Adobe.
All the hugs. I am the hug king. But yeah, so like this is right here when I saw this video, I was like, how did they do that? That looks amazing.
I love that, right? I don't even know if that's a trick of the eye.
But like this ramp, like that is like, ooh, baby. Right? Like that's great. So I was trying to figure out how did they do that, and so that's where like when we go into it here, I'll show you really quick. So you'll see the layer styles, and you'll be able to go into here and blah, 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 blah. But you'll see the style here. Angle. Boom! There it is. See that? So that's how they're able to create that. And then you can animate that. See? There's that a little bit.
And that's the gradient, right?
That's using the layer
Right
style
there.
right there.
Oh, the layer style. Sorry
That's
about
right,
that.
yeah. So you can see that's what it was. Pre-comp that up, scale, size, and then that
Scale it up the whole. Okay.
And that's how you can do that. You'll be able to
That's
get
way cool.
that effect.
I
That's
like it.
using the layer style.
That's the benefit of layer style.
Yeah, so that's how you do it. But yeah, I don't usually use layer styles because I don't have I don't have access to the start and the end or the ramp. That's why that. So what I was going to do, actually switch off my screen for a quick second, just because I need to download stuff and I don't want people to steal my cereals. Don't look at my cereals, guys. And we're gonna go grab that YY ramp because it's awesome. It's so awesome.
While you do that, I'm gonna play that animation game because I think people were liking it.
Totally. John and say hi, Jay. Hi, Jay. He's a good guy. That was actually by special request for somebody out there.
Yeah.
They know who they are. You ready for that? So good. JC, you know what I'm going to talk about. Are you still learning new things? How much time do I invest in learning new skills? Honestly, every day. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I try to learn new things every day. Like when a new video comes out, I dissect it right off the bat, and that's why, like, when I watch like Vimeo, literally frame by frame, and as it showing, like, honestly, it's the best thing. What's that?
I'm interested in how they did some of this sort of like.
So yeah, so how they do those trails? Yeah. So those trails are just particular. That's all it is. So they just linked the emitter, like a light source or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they did it. No, actually, I'll show you really
Link
quick.
the light source to the sphere.
That's right. So I'm going to show you my dribble really quick. Bum, 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 bum. So I'll show you. This is actually something I did for American Express. Is it this guy? Maybe it's that guy. No, maybe it's this guy. Maybe. No, that's not it. Ooh, what just happened there? That's nice. Thanks. Say hi, Mitch. You're on Adobe Live. What's your problem?
Gus, this was done in Illustrator. The flowers were made, and I've comped it up in Photoshop using Puppet Warp. Is how I manipulated it. He's asking about the laptop cover.
Oh, nice. I was like, what's happening? I don't think that's it. Or is this, baby boy? Is this it? Maybe. Nope, that was not it. That's definitely not it. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, where is that?
Hello, Steph. Steph S.
This is it. So, for example, in this piece that I did with Fatkat Pixels, Justin Katz. Hey, buddy. Hi. In this piece, for example, these animations, again, shape layers and all that good stuff. But actually, you'll see here these little trails with a taper.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't use 3D stroke. I didn't use shape layers. Hey, Cereal's here. Hey, buddy. You do fantastic work. So, like, these trails were actually used in particular, very similar to what you have on your screen. It's just using the trails and using the light emitter actually that's parented to the object. That actually has no depth, no Z depth. And so that way, when I'm creating that, it actually kind of conforms to the XY Cartesian coordinates in comp space. So that way I can have control, I can change the taper, I can do whatever I want with it, and I have full flexibility.
Did you say, was it a particle or particular?
Particular. Okay. It's using
Trap
Trapcode Particular.
Cool.
And that's owned by Red Giant. Created by Peter Norby. Beautiful man. Beautiful, beautiful, man. Yeah. So that's how like that trail effect. That's exactly what it is.
That kind of, yeah, it's impressive.
And what's really cool, again, I don't have it installed, but what's really cool is that you could actually birth, for example, and I'll show you really. Let's see if I can do it. Let me install this really quick, and then I'll show you one of my hidden gems that I love using, that most people kind of pass through. Hey, Rachel's here.
That's impressive, though.
You know what a sweetheart she is.
That's, yeah, particular seems pretty dope.
All right, so if we go install this stuff, plugins. That's not support. I want just plugins.
I mean this.
Bum, 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 bum. Yes, please continue.
I'm just checking out.
Checking out.
Trap code particulars. Pretty sweet, man.
What's it all about? Trap code particular. Yeah, they just actually just released a new version of particular from Red Giant. Excuse me. I always want to say Giant Ant.
Does it take a while? Does it's kind of slow up rendering?
Actually, the latest version does not, because it's all GPU enabled.
Oh, sweet.
It's pretty impressive. It's like super fast. It's amazing. Yeah, it's great.
Very cool.
Oh, so good. And back to me again. I think Jason flirts with me. Oh, nice. Wow. I think I want to flirt with Jason myself. All right, so what's going to show you. Let's get back to this bad boy. So here's the gradient ramp. That's what we've already set up, and this is kind of the thing that I really want to show off the bat, is like the built-in gradient ramp effect. As you can see, we have this effect, and we look here and we look at the ramp scatter. You kind of scatter that up, and you can start to see like what's end up happening. You start getting some noisy bits. Maybe what everybody was talking about on day one was like that dirty texture.
Oh, I like that.
So you can see like this texture, right? So that's where you can start to build some of this effect, which is great, but it's was built for dithering. So the thing is, like, when you're working in you're working at a certain say colors, if you're looking at like 8 bits per channel, you can actually up that up. You can change your workspace. Excuse me. Adobe RGB is typically the best, I find, just to be able to help out universally, but again, it's completely up to you how you want to be able to work. But the depth for the color you can change. Typically I try to work at 16 bits, but in this instance there's just no need for it. But for an example, if I'm going to do something with a gradient ramp, there's maybe a slightly better way to do that, and I'll use YY ramp. And now again, you can see now we're looking at the two. This is the built-in one, and this is the one from E Scripts, and you can see the amount of extra tools that are available here. That's pretty impressive, I'm not gonna lie. So we'll take that same expression here, we'll just paste that from one to the other, just as we had previously. And then, we'll grab that, make sure we have that handles. Well, we'll find those handles first. There we are. Happy days. And then let's turn on that layer, just to make sure that we're actually looking at it right properly. And then, so you can see like what we're trying to do here is like we're actually lining up that issue where you can see like this dark line right here. So you can see this like separation. Like, it's not that nice, it's not that pretty, but hey, if that works, that works. Whatever's approved. In this instance, we'll clean it up a little bit just to match this. So now I'd say we're pretty much on point. This is when we'll go right back to the whole difference layer mode, and you can see right off the bat, you can see the gradient's off just a little bit, but it's barely perceptible at this point. So at that point, I just say, we did it. Now the only thing that's missing now is we're looking at actually the shape. Now there's lots of ways to do this kind of shape thing. You can actually take the ellipse path, duplicate it, and again we'll bring it right down here, and then we'll take that, bring down the scale, and you can see what I'm doing right off the bat is I'm going to make a donut kind of shape. And it's going to do it step by step, and I'll show you like how to do this kind of step by step to be able to make this work as best as possible. So you can see here we're working with that. That's fantastic. Happy days. And we'll go back over here, and we'll take this, and then we're going to add a new path here. And this new path is just the rectangle. And again, we want to make sure that we're building this up. So you can see what we got here. So you'll see the path. Here it is. Happy days. Boom. So now we can see that's pretty much on point, right? That's great. But we have this weird shape going on, right? There's nothing really about it. And that's where you want to be able to start merging the paths. And obviously merging paths, fills, all that stuff. We don't need the stroke. Stroke can go away. Bugger off. And then how do you want to merge these paths? Again, intersect. So we can see now how we can start to build up this kind of the shape, right? So maybe what we want to do is maybe exclude intersections, excuse me. Well, it's not really. Subtract, no. Add, that just brings them all together. Merge just brings them all together. Intersect, you can see only where the intersections exist within. So that's fine. So what we're going to do is actually we're going to have the intersection. But what we're going to do is we're going to take that and bring that right down here. And now you can see that we're actually getting slightly different. So what if we did not the subtract? Maybe the add? No. Maybe we try this one. Getting close. Anyways, you can start to see like we're starting to dial it in. And that's the one way to do it. Again, if that's the way you want to do it, great. If that's not the way you want to do it, that's also great. Typically for me, what I do is I try to build the shape with an Illustrator first, and then go from there. So from that's where, if I can, what I want to do is like break this down a little bit more. So you can see what we're doing. We've done the exclude intersections, but we're just going to do the subtract. Like, so this is the intersection, but we want to exclude that. Boom, done. Okay, and then we want to duplicate that merge paths. Now bring it slightly down here, and again we're going to do this last function with the rectangle, and happy days, there it is. There's our shape. As you can see, we built the shape out. Now the only problem with this is now you're going to have all these points, you're going to have all these positions, and at the end of the day, if it's only going to be just designed and just put in place and animated around, it doesn't really matter. But then I try to clean this up as much as possible. Nice, good job there, Paul. Nailed it. So there we go.
Everybody's being super helpful in the chat, just answering questions. So this is easy.
This is the most important thing. And this is the thing is like for me, this is honestly where everybody needs to come together and work together. Don't work independent. Let's see here. Stephen Minty, I always do this from Nurse Pass. Yeah, I know. It's totally the only way to do it.
That's right. Thanks for joining us, Rachel, in chat. Rachel's up next in about 30 minutes. And yeah, she does fashion-y videos and stuff and all sorts of things. And
fashion-y video things?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Use some tips from her.
I don't know, I'll have to be honest, my denim tuxedo.
Oh, you gotta show her your denim tuxedo.
I mean, like, come on, let's be honest.
You felt really compelled to wear it today.
Well, yeah, because like this is the last day I can rep Canada. I mean, like, why not? It's the day. What's my favorite TV show?
Tuxedo. Oh, I know. Well, I think it's tied between two.
Go on.
It's tied between Happy Days and Community.
Oh man, Happy Days Community? That's crazy.
Well, just because those are two words you say.
Oh, nice. I know, right? He's on it.
I love Community, though, quite frankly. Community's...
You know what my favorite show is?
Huh.
I'll find you.
He's like, oh, you
actually,
get it. Just wait till you come on.
That's actually not a bad idea for a show name.
Yeah, hey, there
it's
you
like,
go.
Family Matters. Right? Like,
at the end of the day. Why is that not
that's
a
the kind
movie
of like,
or
almost like
a
Mr.
comedy?
Rogers. Like, I totally need to have a cardigan. It's like, oh, that's what I should totally call my YouTube channel. Oh, that'd be so good.
At the end of the
and,
day.
like, just walk in and like, hey guys, today's at the end of the day. We're gonna put this in.
Put on some slippers.
Exactly.
Today, at the end of the day.
I'm pumped. That's pretty awesome.
But with your 6 coffees, the
yeah,
day
you just
never,
start jittering.
The day never ends. At the end of the day is like 5 a.m.
I see.
I'm like, wait.
Time. I think I should drink some coffee. I think so too. I think you should get all of the coffee. They actually have I actually had the nitro, cold pressed nitro coffee, whatever you want to call it. It's delicious. Like, it actually is really good, and the barista is really nice. Yeah.
I had no idea he was.
Kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look.
I know.
I had no idea he did Community and Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm.
He's a boss.
Baller.
Actually, that reminds me. I have to show you a ship I was working with. One of my best friends, Patrick Luterno. We were making a super hyper realistic Rick and Morty ship.
Oh, really?
I'll see if I can find it really quick, just to show you.
Oh, sorry.
It's totally cool. Let's see if I can find it really quick here. So Patrick did the modeling.
Oh, let's talk about
texture.
this, because you were actually, somebody was mentioning resources. So you're on a motion design Slack
Yeah, that's
community?
right.
Oh,
Exactly.
can I show that? Can I switch to your screen or no?
Not
no,
quite
maybe
yet.
not.
Not just quite yet.
So there's a motion design Slack community out there, guys. Now
That's
you
right.
know.
Hey, look, people are talking about me. I'm gonna add a poop
Pear
nugget.
wants to get your expression document.
Sure.
We can. You could always send it to me, and we can post it to
Yeah,
chat.
let's do that.
Basically.
Or
Or if,
I'll send that right now.
sweet.
Alright, how do I send this to you?
Email it?
Sure. What's your email?
It is petrani@adobe.com.
Gotcha. Send. So yeah, so like we're working on this Rick and Morty ship, like super realistic Rick and Morty ship together, and like hyper realistic.
Wait, you're working on that?
I was doing some of the textures and helping with some of the concepting with my friend Patrick Luterno. Patrick did all the modeling, the lighting, the texturing. Like, he's a god when it comes to hyper realistic stuff, and we were working on it together to be able to like just riff off with each other.
Yeah, it's cool. Those are some great renders.
Yeah.
This looks so good. Wow.
So yeah, we had some fun with that.
It's legit.
Like I said, this is all Patrick Luterno,
Patrick Luterno.
an awesome friend.
That is way cool.
So yeah, we're having fun with that together.
Way cool. Fantastic. We'll get that expressions doc posted. Yeah. And you're using an Asus. What's the laptop?
It's an Asus Republic of Gaming Zephyrus 2017.
Zephyrus.
Let's see here. Thanks, Augustus. Who's more famous,
idea.
Jake Paul or Casey Neistat? I have no clue who I know who Casey is. I don't know who Jake Paul is, so
Yeah,
I guess that
probably
answers that.
question. Yeah.
CrossFit's going really well. My hands, I don't know if you can see it, but like they're just torn up, like just all shredded from the calluses. Thanks for asking, Alex. That's really sweet. Who's not on Vimeo? Surprisingly, a lot of people.
Yeah, Vimeo is good. I mean, obviously for this audience, I'd expect most people to be like on Vimeo.
Oh, I'm surprised. I guess Vimeo is kind of like the community's website for motion design, and I'll have a drink to that because this actually is delicious. I can see why you had this every day.
Right?
Oh, so
Good thing
good.
We don't work in this office, otherwise our skin would start turning orange.
I mean, like, I want more.
So you're on a motion design. Is that a public sort of motion design Slack channel?
Motion
What's the deal?
design Slack. It's motion design. Let's see, motion.
Oops.
It is motiondesign.slack.com. It's kind of a community initiative by everyone. I don't know what's another good word for it. A symposium. A symposium. There we go. I'm going to say symposium from now on. Gotcha. What's your Fran time? What's Fran? I have a really good friend named Francesca Cataneo. Amazing designer, amazing woman. She's pretty cool. Motion design Slack.
Yeah, I punched motion design dot.
Cool. You actually have to sign. I forget how you actually have to sign into it. What's the smallest time frame I've ever worked? Smallest time frame? So you know that Bloomberg piece? Ricardo and I, and James, and a few others. We only had like 4 or 5 days to do that guy. Excuse me. Yeah, it's pretty. Hey, Dave's here. Yeah, typically most of my projects are usually range between a week to a week and a half as far as timeline goes. So every video you ever see me post or anything I ever do, it's usually within a week or 2 weeks. Gotta go, go, go.
What is Fran? I just heard that a couple times.
Yeah, so they're talking about like the CrossFit workout.
What does it stand for? I assume it's like an acronym or no?
Probably. Honestly, I've only been doing it now for 3 months, pretty hardcore. And I've been doing it 5 days a week at 5:30 in the morning.
Wow. Good job.
So yeah.
That's a joke.
That's what I Googled. Oh, thanks, Cedric. Oh, there he is. Patrick
Is that the right one though? Motion design artist? I ran across that one. I don't know if that's the...
That's the submission form. So it's a screen thing to be able to like, because instead of getting a lot of like clickbait and a lot of people that are crazy, so this is the motion design artists.
.typeform.com.
So this is how you'll be able to like, you can actually like sign, like go into it, be able to like submit your portfolio, submit everything, and keep going.
Cool. Well, thank you for posting that there, Patrick.
Patrick Laterno, that's Patrick L. That's the guy that I was helping out on that ship.
Welcome to Typeform.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, that's it. Canadians are chill people, kind of. Sometimes I can be pretty high strung. Sometimes, I'll be honest. Depends on the coffee.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Questions? Anybody?
Do I
get? Oh, this is a really good question. I really want to get onto this. Do you all get imposter syndrome at all? And when did that stop? Truthfully, I still have imposter syndrome all the time. You know, there's mornings where I wake up and I'll be completely transparent. I cry, I get scared. I'm afraid to open my email. I'm afraid to open up After Effects. I'm afraid to be able to create something some days. And truthfully, it never goes away. It never truly ever goes away. And it's one of those things that you can stand on the shoulders of giants and look around you and see how many great people are out there. And you always compare yourself. And you know, comparing is not a really bad thing. I think it's healthy if you do it within moderation, and I think it's really important that you need to be able to like reflect where you are, your own journey, and where you've come to. And yeah, it just never ends. It's one of those things that you constantly have to live with, and you learn to cope with it. Totally. Do you fake it till you make it? Absolutely, all the time. I cannot agree more with that. Oh yeah, totally sensitive Andrew here. It's gonna make me so cry. So beautiful. But yeah, it's the thing is like, it's important. You know, it's really important to be able to understand that, you know, it's, as you can be an emotional creature. Like, you know, I think the best artists, I think the most important choices or battles that people fight are themselves. And it's really important to make sure that people, you know, it's just part of the process. It really is. It's understanding that to be able to get there, it's important. How can I get curve presets that you haven't opened in AE? These are just the default curve presets from Flow. Click the links. Can you? Do I ever get burnt out? How do I deal with it? I get burnt out a lot, but how I deal with it is I try to take care of myself mentally as best as possible. Yeah, that's the best thing I can say actually, is like, I do have burnout, but the best thing to do is take care of yourself nutritionally, eat well, sleep as much as you can. Everybody's different when it comes to sleep scheduling. Do literally as much as you can and try to make yourself happy. You know, I still struggle with that. I still try to figure out what's important to me as far as my values and what governs my body, my soul, whatever you want to call that. I need to take care of me.
The Slack group.
Yeah, I know. Everybody wants in. It's the booming place. But yeah, just go through the links. Yeah, so if you want to click on that Bloomberg one, actually. If you want to go, yeah,
Who's that?
if you want to click on that video, show that one in the background, because like somebody was asking what's the fastest turnaround time. This one is actually, this piece was a super fast turnaround time. This was less than a week.
Yeah, I think that's a good question about pre-composing layers.
How do you manage the boring side of work? How can you do a live stream for 6 hours without putting down a keyframe and still have the best live stream ever? Honestly, to do really good work takes concentration. And like, you know, honestly, I want to help. I want to be a part of this. I want to be in this environment, because this is a pretty big life achievement for me. So for me to be able to be here and help you guys and girls create something new, that's on you. And honestly, that's your path, that's your destination, your however you get there, and that's mostly important. And I think that's really important to be able to understand that you're not struggling, you're not having a hard time. Some people do have hard times, but let those experiences push you forward. And that's the most important thing, is that you have to realize that every moment in life and time always propels to the next one, and you have to realize what that means and how that helps you. How do I set the default full color as an animated color? That doesn't make much sense. Sorry.
Like you would animate a color by applying an effect to it? Is that how you do it?
You could, like you could just take a fill like effect. You could use, just like if you're using shape layers, you can change the fill again. That's just a property. There's Sylvia again. Hi Sylvia. Austin, how do you feel about saying yes to everything and hell's yes otherwise no? I say yes to everything. I say yes to everything. Noisy gradient, YY ramp, dissolve, dancing note dissolve with a layer style. Lots of other ways to do it.
Yeah, you can see that in here.
Totally. Yeah, it's just all textures. How do I say yes to everything? Pick your battles. Truthfully, it really comes down to choosing your battles properly, doing what's going to be able to help you propel to the next thing, what's going to make you get really good. That's honestly, that like you have to organize, like one of the questions was asking about, like, you know, how do I set up myself to be able to like deal with burnout, or how do I deal with it, like learning new things. I want to learn things on the job. I want to learn things that my clients need or want or want to create. For me, that's really important. How do I deal with creative block? I work out, or I play a sport. I used to play rugby, used to box. Now I'm fencing a lot, but recently, like I'm fencing, CrossFit. Those things are really important to me because it allows me to be able to have a sense of community within real life, but also helps me be a bigger brother type person to be able to help the people, like the fencers that I fence with are quite younger than me, they're about half my age, because they're amazing. But the thing is that they help me kind of respect and learn about me, and I want to help them pursue their dreams and goals in life. So, you know, if that means, you know, taking them to tournaments and having conversations about life, I'm there for them. What animal will I animate when I'm on the Animators? Well, I have to be invited first, Simon. I don't know. Let's leave that to Zach.
Animators.
Yeah, Animators is the podcast from Identity Visuals. So Zach and Sam. What should I include in a freelance contract to a client? That's a big question that I don't have time to answer. If you want my contract, I'll be happy to email it to you. Just send me an email, just aembry@gmail.com, and I can give you a sample contract that I have. And it's been, I guess, looked over by my lawyer. What expression locks the gradient ramp? Well, let me show you. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Here, this one.
I think that's it. Whenever you're
Hi Andrew, who writes scripts for your videos? It usually comes from my client. I've never been charged to be able to do the scripts. Depends on like the relationship, but I don't like taking on that detail. That's not my strength. Thanks, Simon. That's really kind of you. Thanks for grabbing that expression. Why and when do you use pre-compositions? And do we always have to do it? You don't always have to do it. That's going to be kind of your own, like if that's what you feel comfortable working with and that's how you'll be able to bring down the layer stack, that's on you. At the end of the day, it's about organization and how you understand comp space versus world space. I call it world versus like global space because After Effects has kind of understanding of different spaces.
And that's kind of why I was asking about kind of like grouping items, because it's
Totally.
a way to like, I don't know, it's a nice way to like compartmentalize
Absolutely.
like a smart object in Photoshop sort of deal.
Well, that's the thing is like with shape layers, there's a really great way. Explode shape layers helps with that a lot because now it respects easing when you animate other paths, and then when you bring it and merge them together, they'll have their own groups, but you could also keep that easing intact. Thanks, Simon, again. Gotcha. What's Patrick saying? Would you recommend peeps to get mentors? Yeah, totally. I think everybody should have a mentor. I think that's the thing that's missing from this generation of animators. This generation, and by that generation I mean probably the last 2 generations of animators, excuse me, because the big thing that was really important when Disney was kind of the big thing in the 60s and 70s, and that's why we had the 9 old men. Everybody, the animators mentored other animators. They'd constantly allow people to like grow and gain knowledge from them. And that's why, here we go, we're gonna drink for the community. The big reason why you do that is because the community grows yourself. Like everybody grows in like respects, and you constantly just kind of grow exponentially faster. It's super important to understand that. That's why you should work together. That's why you should have teamwork. I think it's really important to have good people that you work with and you can learn from. Internship or freelance work. If you can afford freelance, cool. If you can afford internship, cool. It's the same thing. At the end of the day, you should get paid for with your worth, whether it's intern or freelance. And realistically speaking, I think it's really important to be able to walk the line that you want to, because if you can do an internship for another company, and that company that you really respect and that's going to help you, awesome. You know, get your foot in the door, and that's how I started my career. Hey, Tony's here. That's amazing. Hey, Tony. Yeah, Tony's an amazing motion designer director from Greece. He has a studio called Yell. Ooh, baby. I think it's hard to price work as a freelancer to get a customer to understand it takes time to do it. Yeah, definitely. Time. Like at the end of the day, that's respecting of time, of an hourly wage. The whole fact is like, you know, you're an experienced craftsman that does a very niche product. And, you know, like that's why McDonald's pays people by the hour. It's a very generalized tool set, understanding of what you need to do for work. But you still get paid per hour. So your experience, you're amazing. You should get paid your worth because you're experienced at a niche kind of thing. So no matter what, that's your thing. Favorite karaoke song, Michael? I'd have to say I See Fire by Ed Sheeran. I sing that song all the time, like almost every morning before I go to work out. Or True Colors. That was like, that just hits me.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see you sing that karaoke bar.
Yeah, let's go to the bars tonight. What scripts do I use every day? That's a question I can't answer actually. So scripts every day, I use Prism every day, and I'm not just saying that because it's my own script. I use Prism every day because it makes a huge difference. I use Motion 2 from Mount MoGraph every day for the reposition anchor point as well as the null. What other one do I use? Geez. Depends on the project, but Flow is fantastic. Labels, again, another fantastic one. Explode shape layers. I guess the ones you see here that like I'm just having on my computer at the moment.
Live text from AI. Al.
Where's this?
Sorry.
I have an answer for that. Haha, live text from AI to keep pixel perfection. Yeah, totally. Actually, what I do, Sky, is I take the design from Illustrator. I don't know if this is a known thing, but this is what I do all the time. So if you have like say design text in Illustrator, like really quick tip here before things kind of slow down.
Yeah, we got like 3-ish minutes.
Try to be really, really quick here. Come on, Illustrator, let's slow down.
Yeah.
Get to the chopper now. Let's do this now.
Background
That's good
reverb. Mike has mentioned that a couple times. The background renderer.
Yeah, I don't use BG renderer. If I'm going to use anything, I'll use Adobe Media Encoder because you can actually render in the background while you're working. It's a cool thing. Adobe got that right. Rocky Rourke, just wanted to say big thanks to you and everyone else in the streams. Really excited to see whatever in the future projects. Hey, if you ever need anything, I'm here. And that goes for anybody. Just send me an email, send me a tweet, send me a Slack message. If you guys need anything, I'm totally here for you guys. You know, you've helped me grow. You've helped me develop and change. It makes a big deal. You can do from Photoshop, which is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. So for example, if I wanted to grab this text from, you know,
Thanks.
let's say if I wanted to grab that.
About that, Paul.
Oh no, I'm talking about you.
Right here. Right here. I'm getting choked up. Yeah. Cut.
So for example, if I wanted to grab this, let's say this was a design, right? And let's say this is the design. Let's do this. And then
Ooh, that's like fit perfect.
I know, that's, I'm like, damn it.
That was like.
So let's say this is the design, you know, connect typography that clients like ever so much. See, this is what I mean by I don't rarely ever use a mouse, because like, why do I have to use a mouse? So you can see what I'm doing here now is I'm essentially doing this kind of big kind of connect
type lock up.
Drop it like it's hot.
And we have Rachel Nguyen and Jason Levine up in a couple minutes.
So say this is the design that I have from the client that just came in, and it's, you know, it's great, awesome. I like bagels. That's true. That is my favorite emoji. So if I'm going to get this from the client and I want to bring this over into After Effects, I can't convert the text. AE team, excuse me. Let's get this on the go. That'd be amazing. I would really appreciate that. So if I wanted to get this text into After Effects, how do I do that? The best way is like I actually just grab it, copy, go back into After Effects, make a new text layer, Control Alt, Shift T, paste. And look at that. There it is.
Keeps the
it's
formatting,
all the formatting, the spacing, the tracking, the kerning, everything. So I do it again. Boom, text. Hey, look at that. Check that awesome sauce out. And then hey, let's grab this. Let's grab some bagels. Who doesn't like bagels? Am I right? Bagels.
Bagels.
So there we go. So then, you know, I use the line because I like a line. There it is.
If you did a straight copy and paste without creating the text layer, what would happen?
Without having a text layer?
Yeah.
Like if I just wanted to like.
Yeah, if you just did a copy. Yeah,
like copy this.
Yeah, 1 minute.
All right.
1 minute.
You guys have any questions? Any questions? Questions. Quick, like bunnies. Let's go. Come on. Yes, that's right. Control Alt Shift T, or you can actually go over here, layer new text right there. Boom.
Boom.
How would you animate the arrow? I would use a tool that's by, forget his name, but it's on Video Hive. It's called Arrower. It's fantastic. It's great.
Arrower sounds good.
It's good. Good stuff.
All right.
Good
man.
stuff.
You know what else sounds good? Is you. We just appreciate you working for us. And Andrew Embury, big shout out to you, man.
Thanks.
Did you have fun?
I had a blast. This was really cool.
We had a good time having you here.
Okay.
Yay, Andrew. Follow him on the interwebs. He's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. We got Jason Levine and, of course, Rachel Nguyen just making us feel frumpy because she's a fashionista and is going to be doing some video stuff. It's going to be fun.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.